before we start my discussion, let me introduce myself first. So I am Patricia Paula Libria Batuken, and I will discuss what is physical and chemical hazards carried by the food. So, introduction of chemical hazard. These are three different hazards that carried by the food we eat. Among them are the following: physical hazard, chemical hazard, and biological hazard. In this chapter, we will deal with physical and chemical hazard. On the preceding chapter, we will deal with biological hazard. So, what is chemical hazard? Chemical hazard, these are the hazards that caused by adding dangerous chemicals into food items without necessarily knowing that these are dangerous chemicals. An instance might be adding a powdered pesticide into the food item, thinking or mistaking for salt or sugar. So from the word chemical hazard, it is a very dangerous hazard, especially into food items, because it can cause people at risk or a health problem. And chemical hazard is also one of the reasons why lots of people are having a hard time in dealing in this kind of situation. So chemical hazard in food comes into different categories. There are the man-made chemicals and natural occurring chemicals. So first, let's talk about what is man-made chemicals. These are the hazards chemicals added to food items. They are called man-made because humans manufacture them in order to enhance the shelf life of food items, enhance its flavor, and to kill pests that are damaging important scraps. So, in other words, man-made chemical is a highly dangerous chemicals because man-made is caused by us humans, and also man-made can affect our human body. So let's avoid this kind of situation. So there are three types of man-made chemicals. So first is the food additives. Food additives. These are used to enhance the flavor and appearance of the food. Among these are the food coloring, salt, and other enhancing flavor. So for the second, it is the food preservatives. So food preservatives, these are used to enhance the shelf life of the food items. Among them and others. And food preservatives, it should be properly used in preserving food. So for the last one, pesticide. Pesticide, this is where the plants, the fruits, and vegetables are often sprayed before being harvested to avoid insects. And yeah, so here are some example pictures of food additives. As you can see here, the first picture, it is a bread. Bread is also part of food additives because bread has a lot of ingredients like flour, sugar, and salt. And that's why bread is also part of food additives because it can cause a health problem. So we must avoid this kind of food. So for the second picture, it is a pancit canton. Pancit canton many people are addicted to eat pancit canton because of its spiciness. But as you all know that if we eat a lot of spiciness, it can cause into our health, it can cause ulcer and stomach ache. So dapat minus-minusan din na tumukawang tag spicy na food. So for the third picture, it is chocolate. Chocolate is also part of food additives because chocolate has a lot of texture and ingredients, especially cocoa and sweetness. And digid said maayo na masita ka ng lots of tamis sa to ang lawas because it can cause diabetics. So yeah, let's avoid this kind of food. So food preservatives. These are the example of food preservatives. So in the first picture, it is a gummy bear. Gummy bear is also part of candies, and candies it can be having a molds or a bacteria. Then without us people knowing na masigitag ka na niya na dahil na siya bacteria niya maka sakit sa tuntian. So yeah, so in the second picture, it is a kimchi. Kimchi is a very well-known food here in the Philippines. Kimchi is a Korean food, and it is also spicy. And ang kimchi is kanang vegetable man ni siya, then lagi nasay ka ng bacteria, then wala ka kahibaw na wala day gihugasan ng maayo, then maka-cause of bacteria. So let's avoid also this kind of food. And for the last picture, this is a pesticide. This is where the fruits, the plants, and the vegetables are being protected against fungi, bacteria, insects, and others. And this pesticide is also potentially toxic to our human body. So, what is natural occurring food chemicals? There are 3 common natural occurring food chemicals that are dangerous to humans once ingested. Among them are food allergies, shellfish toxins, and mycotoxins. So, in the other words, natural occurring chemicals can be forced in nature, such as chemicals from plants, animals, microorganisms, the earth, and the sea. So, food allergen. Food allergen is a chemical certain food items that causes allergic reaction to the person. It should be noted that certain persons are allergic to certain type of food, while other person may be unaffected by such food items. Upon ingestion of the food allergen, allergic reaction would occur. Among them are the following. So, these are the following allergic reaction. First is diarrhea, muscle cramps, difficulty in breathing, vomiting, wheezing, swelling of lips, swelling of the tongue and mouth. So a lot of people experience have a food allergic because even though na kaibaw na siya na siya allergic na kanang di siya pwede mo kana na food, then mukaon siya, then without knowing na ingon ani din possibility na makuan niya mahitabo. So dapat if you know that you have allergic in that food, so you must avoid that kind of kanang kaunog na food. So these are the food that usually causes allergic reactions. So first is the egg, peanuts, plant proteins, crab, shrimp, squid or octopus, fish, clams, oyster, chicken, and mussels. So mao ni siya ang mga common gid na kanang allergic gid sa mga tao. So dapat i-avoid ni nato siya, so dili ta magka symptoms. So shellfish toxins. There are several shellfish toxins. Among them are the following. So PSP or paralytic shellfish poisoning. So PSP is a naturally occurring marine biotoxin that is produced by some species of microscopic algae. People can become ill from eating shellfish that is contaminated with PSP or paralytic shellfish poison. This can also affect the nervous system and paralyze muscles. This type of poison can cause severe illness and death. So DSP or diuretic shellfish poisoning. DSP, this is a type of toxin that produced by the dinoflagellate. People can also become ill when they eat a contaminated food with DSP or diuretic shellfish poisoning. So for the third one is DAP or domoic acid poisoning. It is naturally occurring microscopic algae. This can cause severe cases of amnesic shellfish poisoning that can result in permanent short-term of memory loss if they eat a contaminated food with DAP or domoic acid poisoning. So for the last one is NSP or neurotoxic shellfish poisoning. NSP is caused by the consumption of shellfish that is contaminated by various toxins of analog. This can cause people vomiting and more. So these are some types of poisoning. So these toxins come from toxic algae called dinoflagellate. Dinoflagellates are the microscopic and are freely floating above in the water. Certain types of shellfish absorb them caused by the shellfish toxins. Among the shellfish that are common sources of these toxins from dinoflagellates are the following: the mussels, clams, oysters, and scallops. So here in the Philippines, a similar poisoning is known as red tide, named after red-colored dinoflagellates that found in the sea that causes the water into red. So, mycotoxins. Mycotic organisms are fungi, molds, yeasts, and mushrooms these organisms produce a chemical compound called mycotoxins. So in the other words, mycotoxins are naturally produced by certain type of molds. Molds can help produce the mycotoxins grow as a numerous foodstuff. Most mycotoxins are chemically stable and survive the food processing. Mycotoxins is also appears in the food chain as a result of mold infection of crops both before and after harvest. So these are some foods that has a mycotoxins. The cereals, corn products such as breakfast cereals, peanuts, milk, meat, or eggs from animals that had been fed with contaminated grains. So these are the symptoms of, types of poisoning. So first is the hemorrhage, liver damage, fluid build up in the body, intestine injury, spleen injury, thymus injury, cancer, and death in advanced stages. So these are the examples, symptoms of a mycotoxin. So what is my learning experience? So in this topic, it gives me a lot of learnings and knowledge about the food that we eat every day and how chemicals or poison can enter into the food without us people knowing that kind of situation. And now that I am totally aware, I will now avoid eating such food that has chemicals or poison so that my body will stay healthy and I can live longer here in this world. So yeah, thank you.